Hello and welcome to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. For a second there, I just thought Chaotic was frozen on the screen, but she was not.
Nope, just me staring into the void.
Today's monster is going to be the Harpy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Go on, continue. I don't know what you're looking at me for. I don't know anything right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Harpy. We're done. Show's over. It's the Harpy. You haven't even introduced yourself yet, sir. You introduced the monster before you introduced yourself.
I kind of figure people know who we are, but I guess in case some people don't know who we are, we cannot talk. Apparently.
No, we are podcast co-hosts and cannot speak.
For those of you who do not know who we are, I am Silver, and my other lovely co-hosts. I mentioned their name already.
Chaotic. Oh my god. It's always a mess here. It's never organized. It's been over a year and there's still no organization. We love it.
Part of the mayhem part.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's who we are. And we are going to discuss the Harpy a little bit. Do you know, as I always ask you, much about the Harpies?
I know minimal about the Harpies. I did not look into anything like super detailed about them. I know about them, oddly enough, mostly from Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a good source. It's also where I first learned of the Harpies.
There we go.
Through for those younger generation, the newer Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, my Valentine, she ran a Harpy Lady deck. Some of the OG Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards.
Yeah.
But those cards were depicted fairly right. Mm-hmm. But the Harpy is described in two different ways.
Okay.
So we got the Harpies that look like the Harpy Lady sisters and most of the general fantasy Harpies, which is the humanoid body, either claws and talons on their hands and feet, or just female presenting with wings on their back, or wings as arms. Back in ancient Greece and Rome, they seen them a little bit differently. They were just eagles with a woman's face. Just big birds with a woman's face.
Terrifying. Hate it.
Yeah, those are the two main changes in their appearance, really. I think they originally started out as the woman's face on the bird's body. And as many people do, as many writers, they start making them more attractive looking. And trying to make them scary as well, more humanoid. A couple book descriptions that I have of them. One is from, it's book 3 of Virgil's Aeneids.
Okay.
It's monsters more fierce, offended, heaven near sent from hell's abyss for humans' punishment, with virgin faces, but with wombs obscene, foul paunches, and with odor still unclean, with claws for hands and looks forever lean.
Okay.
I believe that was describing the more humanoid one.
Sounds like it. Because of course, the version of Harpies that I know is the ones that were like Zeus's. I don't want to say Zeus's bitches, but I mean, pretty much he just,
That's right.
He just commanded them around.
They were known as Zeus's hounds.
Yeah. Bitches.
Dogs of Zeus's, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually correct, technically, because bitches is female dogs.
Correct.
I'm going to say I don't remember. I think there's only 3 Harpies, technically.
Yes.
But a lot of stories, I don't remember their names off the top of my head. But some stories show more than 3 at a time, but only name 3. And they're named off the directions of the wind, because since they're the dogs of Zeus, so they are usually sent to. They're usually his keepers of the law. Zeus sends them to snatch up people who have done wrongdoings and take them to the Yes, or take them straight to Tartarus.
Love that.
Or sometimes just to steal your food.
Yeah, just steal your grilled cheese like it was theirs. GG easy.
Mm-hmm. All the harpies are like representatives of different winds, is what they're named after. Their names usually indicate something wind wise. They are said to live on an island. Right now, they're supposed to be still on the island of the Straphade Islands, which is off the western coast of Greece.
Are you laughing at my face right now? What are you laughing at?
Just
I'm taking in all of the information before I make an educated response.
Well, if you would like to know, that is all the information that I kind of have that I can remember off the top of my head.
Okay, beautiful.
And
did you not take notes, sir?
I did take notes. But a lot of their notes were repeated because there wasn't a whole bunch about the harpies, because what they got from the harpies is they pulled from really 2 main stories, and other stories that just kind of got lost and from artwork, and people was kind of assuming things.
Okay. Well, I guess I just they're always random chaos bringers. Like they just be snatching shit. They be snatching people, food, things, items. I guess my only thing is is there any lore or mess where they just act on their own, or are they always seen over by somebody?
From what I've seen, they're always seen over by a god. They're always taking orders from the gods, from Zeus, usually.
Okay. That's unfortunate, but all right.
At least in the official lore. Except for D&D lore.
Tell me more about that.
D&D lore? D&D, at least in the new 5e edition, newer, has nothing to do with Zeus at all. Still a god's fault. So you have an elf that is cursed. So an elf wandering a forest heard bird songs so pure and wholesome that she was moved to tears. Following the music, she came upon a clearing where stood a handsome elf youth who had paused to hear the bird's song. This was Finn Merel Mesterain, a reclusive elf god. His divine presence stole her heart as he fled, vanishing into the woods, as if he was never there. Though the elf searched the woods and called for her stranger, she found no sign of his passage. Driven to despair by her longing, she begged the gods to help her. Adria Fenria, elf goddess of the sky, heard the elf's cries and was moved to her aid. She appeared as the bird whose song has entranced the outcast god, then taught that song of beauty and seduction to the elf. When her singing failed to draw Finmarels to her side, the elf cursed the gods, invoking a dreadful power and transforming her into the first harpy. The curse worked its magic on the elf's spirit, as well as her body, turning her desire for love into a hunger for flesh, even as her beautiful song continued to draw creatures to her deadly embrace.
Yeah, okay, so the song thing I guess, was more expecting in the original, they would rely so much more on it. And it just wasn't as, I guess, a big a part of the story as I thought.
Well, from what I read, the Harpy song was actually a mix-up of mythical creatures. This song is actually supposed to be just a siren, and it is people mixing siren mythology in with Harpy mythology.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't believe it was ever in. I think it was the sirens that were in with the Argonauts, not the Harpies, that caused that. Then they just, because the Harpies came after or before in the Argonaut stories.
Okay. All right. I guess I just expected it to be like a big old, like I guess in my head put them on more of like a siren level, just like air sirens. They just have wings instead of tails.
Would you like to hear the stories I have?
Always. I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm listening. I'm ready for all the mm-hms.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can interrupt me anytime.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So first up, we have the story of Jason and the Argonauts. Are you familiar with this crew of misfit heroes?
I've heard about them. I do not directly remember or know much about them.
So it's just a quick, because it really doesn't matter with the Harpies right now. We might be able to cover Jason and the Argonauts later.
Mm-hmm.
It'd probably be a bigger episode. So Jason gathered this ragtag group of heroes in Greece. He had like Hercules, he had sons of the wind god Boreas. I can't remember exactly who else off the top of my head, but they went on adventures. So just kind of picture Jason as like the Nick Fury of the Avengers.
Okay.
They just gathered heroes together to go on a quest.
Fair.
Well, this story contains them, but it doesn't start with them. This story begins with King Phineus of Thrace, the king of Thrace.
Mm-hmm.
He was given the gift of prophecy by Apollo so he could see into the future. And do you know how this king used his gift?
Please tell.
He decided it was a good idea to peep on the gods, and not just any god. He decided to peek ahead of Zeus and his affairs.
Oh, Jesus.
And make his way in ahead of Zeus and stop before he could get to women.
We love that.
Gave him warnings and just kind of said that Zeus was having a hard time trying to cheat on Hera. This king of Thrace kept getting ahead of him, warning the ladies about him. Well, Zeus found out about this, and Zeus, being who Zeus is, he did his favorite thing, like he did with the Queen Lamia.
Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about now.
The Lamia.
The Lamia.
So Zeus ended up doing to him what he did to Lamia. He just removed his eyeballs.
Oh.
So after Zeus removed the king of Thrace's eyeballs, he picked him up, put him on an island, extended his lifespan out so he could live blind on this island. But not only that, but he also gave this king a big banquet of food on the center of this island. But every time the king would go and touch any of the food, the Harpies would come down, beat him up, and steal all the food and leave.
Wow. Imagine just wanting some food and constantly getting your ass beat instead.
And this happened
by a bunch
to any
of winged
food.
ladies.
Yeah. And this happened to any food. If he found a berry, they'd come down, take his berry from him, or they'd come down and just poop all over his food so it'd be inedible.
Wow. Imagine wasting the food, not even taking the food for themselves. Wow.
So this went on for a while, but before he lost his eyesight, he got the vision that Jason the Argonauts would come and save him from the Harpies. And in order once they came aboard the island, he promised Jason that he'd be able to foretell the future, prophesize all the dangers that they'd be in if they would help him out and get rid of the Harpies so that he could eat and leave the island.
Mm-hmm.
So the sons of Boreas, which I mentioned a little earlier, they had winged boots.
Winged boots.
Yep, so they could fly.
Like Hermes winged?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so. And there's 2 brothers that did this. So the Harpies came. They prepared a meal for the King of Thrice, and as soon as he touched it, the Harpies came down, and they stole the food. That's after they stole the food. The Boreads, they took off after the Harpies and chased them all the way to the island of the Straphade Islands. They chased them all the way to the Straphade Islands, where they were going to attack and probably kill the Harpies, but it just said a god stepped in and stopped them from doing it.
Just a god?
I'm not sure which. Yeah, I didn't say exactly which god, but they said that they promised that the Harpies would leave the king alone if they would leave the Harpies alone. That's where the Harpies stayed for the rest of the time, on the Straphades Islands. Probably still doing some of Zeus's legwork.
Well, yeah. Once you're a bitch as Zeus, you're always a bitch as Zeus. But, it's fine, because he's just a bitch himself, so. I can't wait to talk about him someday. I got so much shit to talk. I hope he listens to the podcast someday and is like, wow, this particular human really had a problem with me.
We should get a Zeus stan as a guest and do that episode.
Yes. I don't know that. Seriously, though, I don't know if I know any Zeus stans.
I don't know any either.
Is Super Mage a Zeus stan?
No.
Are you sure?
He likes Thor, but he doesn't like... Actually, I'm not sure if he is.
You probably should ask.
I'll ask him. Nuggies probably is.
Are you a Zeus stan, Nuggies? What do you mean you don't know? Everybody knows that Zeus is the bad guy. What do you mean? We gotta throw the whole nugget out. Yeah, well, Zeus chains people to rocks for eternity, so probably not your guy.
Technically, yes, he does.
Yeah.
Are you ready for a second story I have for him?
Yes.
Another book they pop into story is, like I mentioned in the first description, it's Aeneas, book of 3, in book 3 of Aeneid.
Right.
According to this book, Aeneid was on his way to this. He is passing the Straphades, and they stopped there, and they kept getting all their food and stuff stolen by these Harpies. So they were trying to harm these Harpies, which none of their weapons actually harmed the Harpies at all. But it was enough to drive the Harpies away. But before the Harpies left, they put a curse on Aeneid and his crew, who were headed to Italy.
Okay. Like what kind of curse? What was the... Do we know the details?
Yes. They said, you seek the Italian shores, foredoomed by fate. The Italian shores are granted you to find, and a safe passage to the port assigned. But know that ere your promised walls you build, my curses shall severely be fulfilled. Fierce famine is your lot. For this misdeed, reduct to grind the plates on which you feed.
Okay. Okay.
Old English translations. But this pretty much means that he got to the Italian shores. They set up camp. They got a town going. They as much food as they could get, but they were always hungry and famished to the point where they would always eat their plates as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ow.
So that was the second story. That was the 2 really most common ones I kept seeing over and over, just of different people's retellings. but they were a lot prominent in their artwork, and I'm sure other people had other verbal stories that didn't get written down of them at the time.
Right.
Any thoughts?
Not really. Kind of what I expected. The curse is wild. The curse is wild. Imagine eating your plate. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, what were their plates made of back then?
Well, they called the plates flatbread here. But
So were they
doubt
just...
it was actually flatbread.
Well, were they eating pita? Or was it like actual plates?
Maybe it was pita.
Because,
maybe some sort of thin bread.
Yeah, I mean, because it isn't pita like a Greek bread? Am I wrong in that?
I have mythological knowledge. I do not have common sense food knowledge.
Please. I know that they use it a lot. They use it for like their food a lot, like their dishes
gyros?
a lot. Don't upset all of the viewers by saying it wrong. Don't do it.
Gyros.
So yeah, it would have been theirs. But I think that I don't know, because they said plates. Could you imagine though? Because like back then there was like gold crested plates.
Ooh, yeah.
Like they had very fancy
It's a good thing.
dineware because they melted it down.
It's a good thing Dionysus didn't get this curse.
Well, that's correct. But Dionysus has a hell of a curse himself, so.
Wait, am I thinking of the wrong curse guy? Dionysus is the...
Dionysus is
gold.
water to wine.
I was thinking the gold. That's not Dionysus. That's
Midas?
Midas. Midas' touch.
Dionysus is the one that whenever he pours wine, it turns into water. And Zeus did that to him because he slept with his wife or one of his wives. Or whatever it is.
Didn't Midas also get touched with gold because of Zeus as well?
Everybody's fucked up because of Zeus. I'm not, it's not,
cursed. Everybody's just cursed.
Yeah, literally. Everybody, if somebody's cursed, it's probably Zeus. It's probably Zeus.
Unless it's Hercules, then it's Hera's fault.
Yeah.
Some more media that getting back on the subject here, some more media that the Harpies were in. We have, like we mentioned earlier, we got D&D, we got Yu-Gi-Oh cards as the Harpy archetype. Monster Musume has a Harpy in it. Monster Girl Doctor, another anime, has Harpies in it. The Percy Jackson book series.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I did know
that. The Witcher has Harpies. Shakespeare has Harpies in theirs.
It never surprises me Shakespeare has something. It never surprises me.
And Dante's Inferno.
Oh.
And Harpy is sometimes used as a derogatory term for old women or for women.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Rude.
It is very rude.
If you're telling me that old woman could beat your ass and take your food, sure. If you're using it in the derogatory sense, absolutely not. Turn around, check yourself out, leave.
Then Harpy literally means snatcher.
Snatching.
Which is what they do. They be snatching. Oh, would you like to move on to Mayhem?
Yeah.
This episode is sponsored by... Yeah.
This episode brought to you by... Yeah. I hate it. Leave.
Do you just want rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first in, since I always ask you?
Sure, let's do it. Is it rock, paper, scissors, shoot?
On shoot, we shoot.
So rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay. Rock, paper,
scissors.
No. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. You had like a whole minute in between yours. Okay. Rock, paper. No, you're... No, Jesus Christ. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Sir, you know what? You take that win because
It looks exactly even on my screen.
No, it's not. I do rock and you're like okay, it's okay. You won. You do it. You got this.
After this mayhem, the mayhem of the Harpies, I think if they are to be stuck on the Strawfades, I think it'd be okay. They wouldn't cause much. They'd be like their own little nature preserve.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're free to go anywhere, I think it'd be chaos. Because I don't think normal weapons can actually hurt them, because I think they're technically wind spirits. You might be okay living indoors and in cars, unless they just rip your cars open with their talons.
Right.
And they don't seem to be... I think they have their own intelligence as well. High enough that if Zeus was to, quit giving them orders, they'd just still be probably out there snatching bad guys and taking them to Tartarus, or people just disappearing.
Right, but would they continue to know who the bad ones are?
Whoever has the most food.
So the rich.
Yeah.
That could be interesting. They'd be like rich eaters, basically.
Yeah.
Because and this is just like a theory, but say Zeus did like release them or stop giving them orders, would they just go to try to find the next most powerful thing to be ruled?
Well,
so could they end up in the hands of somebody like, obviously Zeus was also wrong, but end up in the hands of somebody like worse?
I mean, it's very possible, depending if they have like a need for a hierarchy where they have difficulties thinking for themselves without actually being given an order. They're not as autonomous.
Right. I can agree. I don't think that they have enough, like you said, they have like enough brain power that they would still continue to like take, but I don't think that they would ever like expand past that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I don't think they'd be a huge problem. I think that like in an event of a couple going on a picnic and them just showing up and shredding the shit out of them and eating their stuff, that could be a problem. But like, I don't think it would be like a problem beyond that we couldn't control in a way, I guess. I don't think that they would be like a problem that we would have to like have the government come in and slaughter them. You know what I mean?
No, I think they'd probably treat them more as a force in nature than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like wild windstorm hitting. Like picnics would be in trouble, but you'd have to be around the Harpies. And if there's only 3 Harpies and they're in Greece, you're fine. Or if you see they're migrating to like Spain, or they're migrating north to London. Is London north of Greece?
Yes. Yeah. Northwest. Still up.
That's a general continent there.
Yeah.
I don't think the Harpies could fly all the way across the ocean.
Yeah. They may not have enough strength for that.
Another thing is, if we're talking real world rules, like laws of physics, I don't think the Harpies would be able to fly.
Really? I see some of the, and it's like concept art, but I see some of the concept art where their wingspan's pretty big. And I mean, they're pretty like slender ladies. You don't think that they could carry?
They probably have to have hollow bones and be very fragile. But
right.
Because
that are super strong. Like their back muscles would have to be lit.
There was what's that eagle? The California condor is a big bird. And it only has a tiny body, but it needs those larger wings. So I think the harpies would have to have wings to be probably maybe like 30 feet per wing, maybe, in order to fly.
Right.
But then you need all those muscles in order to actually flap them.
Right.
I think they'd change into something more looking like Man-Bat off Batman. But since we're talking magic creatures here, we'll just say they're wind spirits and just make it look like they're flying.
Yeah. Like, I feel like their magic would carry them.
Mhm.
You know.
Spirit powers, airbenders. Another thing I just remembered is that in D&D, there is male harpies.
Oh.
So we got your regular harpies, which look like females.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got your male harpies that also are female presenting, because harpies would take their young and kill them if they looked male.
Okay.
So they just kind of evolved to look female. So you can't really distinguish between the two.
All right. I could see. Kind of like, I guess I would put that in the same category. Like if there was male representing nymphs, I would imagine they'd still be pretty feminine in nature. So
yeah. And that's how they're able to kind of keep up breeding and stuff. Which, do you think they lay eggs? Or they give live birth?
I feel like they would lay eggs of some kind.
I mean, I could see the more bird ones laying eggs. I wonder what size eggs they'd have to lay, though. Like the size of a normal baby's head, probably.
Yeah, probably. Because, like, if you think about it, like, what are those called? In, like, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. You know the big, like, snake bird that twirls itself into its small spaces? Or it can be as big as the space. I feel like it would be kind of like that. Like a harpy, they would lay the egg, and it would start out as like almost like a fairy size, not like the itty bitty like Tinkerbell fairies, but like a regular fairy that could be up to like 2 feet or so. I feel like it would be kind of like that in an egg form, and then once they break out of the egg, it would almost be an instant start of growth. So it wouldn't be like they grow normally. I feel like they'd probably be at their full height by no less than a year. It would just kind of be like a fast growth kind of thing. Kind of like, you know, when horses birth their
foals.
Their foals, their babies. They can walk almost immediately, because something like that, I feel like they would just pick up on that easy and be able to expand their wings and start growing pretty fast.
Which, I don't know if you knew this, but you just said how birds are born.
Yeah.
Baby birds are born the exact same way. They hatch and then they just kind of grow really fast.
Well, I mean,
they get kicked out of a nest. I wonder, do harpies kick their kids off cliffs?
I mean, considering there's only like 3 of them that constantly stay around, they probably do kick their kids off a cliff. We're not going to lie about it.
Squawk!
Squawk! Swoosh! Good luck. But yeah, I think that's how that would work.
It'd be interesting to see fast growth kids.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting to see how fast they grew, timeline-wise.
People should probably go scuba diving right off the coast of the straw fades to see if they can find any harpy skeletons.
Don't do that. Don't wake things up.
Humans are always waking things up.
Yeah,
Look at all the mummies they're uncovering.
Literally, every time I see an article where it's like, oh, this tomb has been uncovered, I'm like, leave it the fuck alone. Put it back. Leave it alone. Y'all are welcome in all kinds of shit.
Hey, they just found this new burial site. Oh, yeah. They built a condo on it.
A condo?
Yeah.
Not the disrespect. Doesn't anybody know about ancient burial grounds anymore? Like, does nobody care?
Hard to say anymore. It's just like that old rule: when does archaeology become grave digging? Not rule, old saying.
You can see that.
Alrighty then. That's all the mayhem I had. I can think of.
I pretty much just spoke on your mayhem about my mayhem, so.
We'll give thanks then to our patrons. I just completely blanked. I think we got Nuggies, Loki, Thor, Ruby, Mondi. Those are the 5.
Woohoo!
Chaotic with her outro. Unless Chaotic's got any news upcoming events.
Well, by the time everybody listens to this, I do have a lot of events coming up with Anna here in March. We're doing a lot of our stuff that was redeemed for our big charity tournament that everybody heard about in those episodes in like January and so. So make sure you check those out. We're going to be doing a lot of our redeems and stuff that everybody earned. Also have a couple of charity events going on. I also have my vacation incentive things that are going on because hopefully I'm taking a nice 2-day break vacation from kids and everything in April. So yeah, we'll be doing those things. That's pretty much it though.
Yep. Chaotic's going to go stay with her best friend over in Rome, the Medusa.
I wish.
Greece.
Greece? I just want to go to Greece. I just want to go to Greece. Yeah, I just give her sunglasses. We'd be besties. Thank you for listening to the Monsters, Myths, and Mayhem podcast. Silver and Chaotic take you into the depth of the lore and discuss how these legends could affect modern-day society. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or almost any podcast service easiest to you. Dive into the depths of chaos with us every Wednesday, bar Silver and Chaotic not missing their scheduling, and consider joining the podcast Discord or Twitter following for more insider looks and even some D&D sessions. If you'd like some extra special inside looks or even want to be a guest on the show, consider helping us via Patreon. Your help makes such a big difference to us both. Until next time, Mythics, you never know what kind of mayhem we will get into next.
Caw-caw!
Caw-caw! Fucking did it, bud.
Insert the music here to transition and keeping that in.
Thanks.